Hello, everybody. It's welcome back to A to Z podcast, the podcast where we figured out the name of the show on the second episode, which is a second part to a two-parter episode where we tell you about our origins, like as people that led to the mindsets that you're gonna see. Below me or to the side when
T.
I get done
Sanders couldn't
editing
hear
it
it.
is Aaron Chase. Oh, she can't hear. Okay. Okay. Well, I'll know for future reference not to even try music for unless like I figure another way to do it. So far, every single one of these starts has been me trying to make music work and it not going over how I think it's gonna go over. But again, to introduce us, below me or to the right is Aaron Chase. He's the A. He also is going to be your representative for Yang, and I am Zero, the Z, Zero Remsen, and I'm going to be your resident Yin. So the Yin to his Yang, the Yang to my Yin. Oh wait, I have that backwards. Your Yin. Yin is dark, Yang is light. Either
Oh,
way,
really?
I'm the positive, optimist one, the cynicist, realist, the logical one. So what we're doing right now is we're going to kick into the second part of this, which is talking about college, unless you had more on high school that you wanted to fill in.
We don't. No, high school was summed up.
Okay. So we're going to kick into telling our college stories, how we came through college, what happened post-college, and where we are now. And that's today's episode. We'll try to keep it not as long as last time, but if it happens, it happens, you know? That's the vibes. Do you want to
Do you
start?
want to go? Do you want to go first? Or you want me to go first?
You go first. It's A to Z.
Fair enough. All right. You remember how you were talking about girls and like how you were trying to figure out girls?
Mm-hmm.
My entire college experience was becoming a fucking master at that and wasting time with every other avenue of my life. Like my yeah, man, my whole college experience was hating school itself, learning how to attract women, and getting in dumb relationships in between. And by dumb, I mean just unhealthy. Like the girls I was with, minus one I'm thinking of in particular, they were all good, reasonable people.
Okay.
But I would
Was the one who wasn't reasonable the last one? Like, did you go down as you got and she was the end?
no.
No?
No.
Okay.
She was like in the middle. And even her,
Okay.
like, I actually saw her recently it doesn't make me feel old as fuck, man. But I saw her recently at a wedding of a mutual friend. Yeah. And it had been like 2 years since I had seen her. We're good. We're cool.
Okay.
I'm not going to say any of the stories relative to her right now because it'll be really obvious who it is to anyone that listens potentially. But like, I would say I spent most of my college years learning how to attract women in a way that it was like half being me and half being just a pickup artist.
Yeah, whatever works. That's interesting. You want to know how much, again, this is going to be a continual thing. We're learning this as much as you guys are learning this at the same time because that is almost beat for beat what my college experience was, minus any success, because I did continue to focus on school. Because I didn't hate school. I wasn't like that's the thing. I wasn't, like, I feel like you became what I would have become if I stopped caring about everything else in my life and focused on it. But because I was doing it at the same time I was trying to graduate with A's and B's and, like, hang out with friends and still do other stuff, that, like, I kind of half-stepped. So I would do a lot of things, but, like, I wouldn't adjust. Like, I would just keep, like, I did something today. That was a thing. But, like, it wouldn't get any better.
Zero, you made the right choice.
Oh, listen, it's that weird thing where, like, I feel like this is, like, a lot of dudes' trajectory is learning, like, you grow up and you really want the freaking harem. You want, like, a bunch of women that are really obsessed with you and really just want to do everything with you and would die for you and cry for you. And then you realize as you, like, attempt to get that, how A, stupid it is to want, B, unobtainable it is for most dudes, and C, how much trouble it would be if you actually got it.
Okay.
And like,
I gotta say, A and C, I agree with. Unobtainable is where I disagree.
well, that's why I say for most dudes. I don't think it's unattainable. I'd like tons of, there's a reason, like Hugh Hefner exists, other examples exist, Leonardo DiCaprio, and you don't have to be those levels of fame. And what's crazy to me on my journey of it was learning how much you don't have to be like one of girls, and this is the same for every gender or every person, but to me I feel like their biggest strength is also their greatest weakness in dating. The fact that they have such big hearts and they don't need us to be attractive at all.
Yeah.
That like it's just about like conveying, like if you convince her you're cool, she'll think you're cool and that you're hot, like to the nth degree. Like you, to her, you could become a 10 with your words or your actions.
Mm-hmm.
And that's crazy to me on the level of like everything you get taught as you grow up is like, oh, you gotta be like fit or have money or be successful or cool in some regard. And I guess the last thing is technically true, but it's like a wiggle room. Go ahead.
Well, so my trajectory in college was freshman year, teeter-tottering with an old relationship from high school and a new relationship or a new person I had met with in college mixed with another person I had met in college. It was this, the whole Zero college, the college episode of this is going to get like crazy to you, potentially.
Okay. Okay, so break that down. So you had a relationship from high school.
Yeah.
You were developing a relationship in college with two other people on the side of the one in high school.
Kinda. So the one in high school broke up, and then eventually we got back together because stupid. And within the times when we weren't together, I was developing relationships and feelings about this one girl and this other girl. I'm gonna make up names for the sake of their own privacy. So I'm gonna say
that's very nice of you.
Thank you. I've been working on myself, Zero.
I could tell.
Killing it. I think this podcast is going to become you trying to make me positive and me trying to make me cynical.
Right. Listen, I could use some cynicism. As much as I love my care-go-lucky attitude, it does tend to, again, I think everybody sees it, and because it's so nice looking, there's like, it looks like there's no downside. Because it's like, oh, you're happy and you're smiling. And it's like, no, there's a downside to being like happy-go-lucky. And it's a lot of, and I think I explained this to you, it's like the drive, it's like I have to motivate myself to do stuff. Because much like a homeless person on heroin, they feel like they're winning because they're happy. And it's like, that's, my life is just maintaining so I don't turn into nothing. Two is that because stuff is so lax, like because I'm so chill, a lot of important things just slide by. Like I hurt people accidentally. I let things like slide in and out, important responsibilities. Like I recently learned that apparently I like spent a max over a limit of a card that I had because I wasn't like paying attention and gas stations were double charging me. Like, because I didn't know, and here's an adult lesson for those of you who don't know. If you go to a gas station and it doesn't reject your card, it doesn't mean you have money. It just means that you had a kind of some money. They took that and then they just held it until you got the rest of the money. So essentially your money stays the same until you get enough money, but they're back charging you. Just a little fun.
I learned that already. I get you. I learned the hard way. Yeah. But in the beginning of college, it was, I'm going to call the girl from high school, I'm going to call her Stacy. Then,
Madonna, waiting for Nirvana. Go ahead.
Then the girl within the dorms of college, I'm going to call her Michelle.
Okay. And Stacy Michelle.
And then the other girl within college, I'm going to call her Uh, Nay.
Nay.
Yeah.
Hmm. Okay.
It
Does she look like a horse?
no. These names are not indicative of the person themselves. It's just for me to remember.
Oh. Got it.
So,
Okay.
so,
I already forgot the first one, but Stacy, Michelle, Nay. Okay, got it. We're
yeah.
good.
So Stacy and I were together in high school, and then in college, in freshman year of college, we were teetering back and forth because we just had an issue with connecting with each other. Like it was like, well, we're far away, but we have Skype. That's a new thing.
The lie of our generations
Yeah.
is like technology can fix that. It'll mend the bridge. We don't have to write letters. It's like, but go ahead, go ahead.
And then so Stacy and I had this weird back and forth. Then Michelle, okay, they, me, and here real names Lacey, Chelsea, and Shay. Wait, what does that mean? Okay, they, me.
I think she means like rock with her here. Like she's taking a stab at the names. Like the real names must somehow relate in any way. So she went Stacy is Lacey, Michelle is Chelsea, and the last girl Nay is Shay.
Well, T underscore Sandre, you are wrong, and I'm not going to tell you regardless, even if you're right. No offense. I've caused enough problems in my life. I don't need to add anymore. They, me.
Real name? Yeah, she's trying to get you in trouble. Yeah, don't mind her.
You're not
Go
tricking
ahead.
me. You're not tricking me, Sandra. All right. So then me and Michelle had this connection that over years I've realized was a very friendly connection, but I didn't have the maturity to understand that like we're making this connection because we're good friends, not because we should be having sex or anything like that. And
Right.
then Nay was the last one.
Yeah, Nay was the last one.
He don't need no help getting in trouble. That's fair.
You have no idea.
Yeah.
Just hold that thought.
Sandra, what is her name?
That's Shelby.
Shelby? That's
Yeah.
her name?
Yeah.
Shelby, as this story goes on, you'll be like, oh yeah, you don't need any trouble. So Nay and I got closer through improv. I'll say it that way and just leave it at that. I was the president, and she was the on some Matt Lauer shit. She was the person who she did all of the paperwork and the formal stuff. It's kind of like my relationship with George. I came up with the ideas and the artistic direction, and George has the paperwork and know-how. Same concept with Nay minus sexual chemistry.
Got it. Okay.
So then, over time, this is so much, but over time, within college, I went to Cal State San Marcos, and I went to a very small school. It was very new at that point, and it's still kind of new today relative to the standards of other colleges. And I stood out, and I was recognizable and noticeable. That'll come into play later. So people knew who I was, and I was a love him. Exhibit A, he went full shades of gray, y'all. You're not wrong. You're not wrong, Chelsea. So,
Shelby, but you're mixing up your made up names with her name. Like, you know, but you were saying so.
I basically developed this reputation that was like, oh, that's the fucking comedy guy. Whether it was good or bad, good or worse, that was the fucking comedy guy. Improv, stand-up, whatever it was. A fair amount of people on that campus knew who I was, and I think that generally speaking, not in a good way. Understandably so, because I was obnoxious without trying to be. Like, I just wanted to express my thoughts, my opinions, but I didn't know how to do that in a way that had any sort of tact. And that kind of sums me up in the very beginning, but I want to hear your life.
Freshman year, that's when so it kind of was also a dovetail from senior year. So I had nobody. I didn't have anybody. I had a bunch of crushes is what a lot of my early college days were, where it was a series of So at the end of senior year of high school, I realized, I looked around, I was like, I'm lonely. I want a girlfriend, but I don't have one. That sucks. I want that in my life. It looks beautiful. It looks nice. To the internet. And then I Googled how to get a girlfriend. And then the first thing came up was this whack Wikipedia article that said the most basic, like, go up, be nice, da, 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 try to find common interests. And you're like, I, I thought I would be yourself. And you're like, I am being myself. It's not translating. And so then I went the next step down that rabbit hole, which, as you said, is pickup artistry. It's PUA. And I happened upon what I now call the bad version of it, where it's I don't know if you know the guy, but like the book, the game, and like
Yeah.
mystery,
Neil
all
Strauss.
those guys.
Neil Strauss.
Yeah, Neil Strauss and mystery and that whole crew. I went down a mad rabbit hole with them, and so I really, and at the time it was like the best. Like it, as much as I can talk stuff about it now, it helped me a lot. Like I'm not looking down on anybody who needs that as a jump start, because it was a great jump start. It gave me more step by step things to do as opposed to the overarching things of the Wikipedia article. So it helped me in some regards. It helped me get that started. That first step, you had to go talk to a girl. You couldn't just sit in your boat and be like, I hope one day, and then work up all this energy. And like it teaches you the value of not making them into a big deal, that whole pedestal thing. And so, and then learning to like just not be such a like doormat, like all of that stuff, and that you have to actually ask for the phone number if you want the phone number, like do the thing. And that was the end of high school, was learning that. Then I took that stuff into freshman year of college, and I learned it up to a point of it being like, it looked very good aesthetically, but it didn't work at all. Like in the way that like I would get phone numbers, but the way I would get phone numbers would make girls feel gross about it later, or even at the time they would give it to me out of that like awkward, okay, fine, yeah, like, and then I would have it, but they don't text back, they don't want to hang out. It's just a thing that happened. I just got phone numbers, and it was like it was like a confusing thing, because it's like I'm getting numbers, but like none of them want to. They don't want to go anywhere. They don't want to do anything. They don't like me. So what am I doing? And I would go constantly back to the material and read over it and read over it. And then from that, like halfway through, I would say it was like halfway through freshman year, I like, again, it wasn't working out. I just had a bunch of phone numbers in my phone that wouldn't text me. And then halfway through freshman year, I started looking into the bad guy in the game, Owen Cook / Tyler Durden.
Yeah.
I started looking into his stuff because he popped up in my sidebar from watching all the game videos. And I looked into his stuff. I'm like, who's watching the bad guy? Like, this dude he's so evil. I don't understand why you would listen to him. Let's see what he's talking about. Then I'm watching his thing. It's so much more legit than what the guys were teaching before that, because it says, bump all the overthinking, you pre-planned it stuff. You just need to realize this is a skill like basketball or doing push-ups, and the more you do it, the better you'll get at it. So, like, stop thinking so much. Just go up, try, and then, like, you do be yourself. So it does bring it back to that generic thing from the Wikipedia articles, but it's like, hey, you can do that, but do it from a place of, like, you're getting better at being yourself. You're chilling out. You're not making it. It's action with the thought. And so I do that at the same time.
I don't want to interrupt, but you know what is so funny? I know who you're talking about, Tyler Durden.
Yeah.
Even in this situation, for whoever's listening, Zero and I are the same person who have gone weirdly different ways.
Yeah.
Like, imagine what you learned.
Mm-hmm.
But you sticked with mystery and Neil.
Okay.
So,
okay.
Yeah, and I think
like that's the thing. I get where it works. It was putting me too much in my head. Like for me, it was causing me to, like, that first couple of steps, I would have it planned out, and then I would hit a point and I wouldn't know where to go because I don't have the next part of the thing. And I would never push more into the thing or like try for any more. I would just be like, and this is usually the part where something happens, but I don't know where to go from here. And so I had to drop it and move on to the more like natural version of doing it. But like even in that, there's a lot of, again, it became very more self-help in the guides of women, and I got better throughout freshman year. That was freshman year. Along with making my best friend, that's where I met Dro by the Key, producer. He's amazing. We were working with him. That's where I met a lot of my best friends, honestly, like those dudes. And this is where in college I get into that thing we talked about where before I was like kind of joking with my friends, but in college, like we would go in on each other, but it was like a loving thing.
So, well, someone said something. I'm so glad you are sharing this because so many boys nowadays have no idea how to talk to girls without expectations or without getting crushed when those expectations aren't met. What is her name again? I don't fuck it up.
Say what?
What is her name again so I don't fuck it up? Shelby, thank you. And I'm going to come off like far more of an asshole later on in this story. So just roll with me here.
Remember the positive.
So while you're gone, I think what happened between the two of us was that during college and during that time, I realized that I was physically conventionally attractive.
Yeah.
So
same. I feel like even though I didn't get that much, I realized that the reason I'm getting away with the whack game that I'm doing is because I'm relatively good looking.
Yeah, man. Like and this is still a thing in my head. Internally, I don't view myself as attractive. Like when I look at myself, like even right now, I'm like this fucking lose over here. But like I thought about it just from a female perspective, and I was like, okay, well, I'm tall, I am dark, I have like the right facial features. I'm like I have what is it? Athletic body type, and it can be naturally funny when given the right opportunity. And so what I realized was like, oh, okay. Even though I don't find myself attractive, there is something attractive about me. So let's use that. And so I leaned away from making fucking normal friends, real normal friends, to just shit talk with, more into girls and bullshit.
Yeah.
And so then my sophomore year, Stacy, Michelle, and Nay, all still around. And life is, I hated college. I wasn't good at it. My improv thing was keeping me together. Still had these relationships together. Then around, I want to say junior year, I met, whose name I have to make up, Kylie.
Okay.
So I met Kylie. And do you believe in soulmates, Zero?
I believe that there are certain, the short answer is not as much as I used to, but I still believe you can connect with, I do believe you can connect with I think you can have multiple soulmates there.
I agree. So I think everyone has soulmates.
I know you're probably wondering why I keep whacking with this. It's because when I edit this blows out, and then I just look like I'm floating in a white world. Which is great for the whole yin yang aesthetic of me being like the angel, but horrible for video. Sorry, go ahead.
So wait, what was I saying?
You were saying how do I believe in soulmates because you met a girl your junior year?
Yeah, my junior year.
Yeah.
Kelsey.
But I forgot the fake name. You said Kylie. You said Kylie was her fake.
Kylie. Okay. So I believe
real quick.
Yeah.
Just as a demographic breakdown, what was the ethnicity of each girl? What? Because these names are coming across very consistent, except for Nay. Nay is the only name.
I'm gonna go pure visual. So like, there's mix in there.
Is their soul a different color than their skin?
pure visual, like Logic. You know how Logic is?
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Stacy's white.
Okay.
Michelle, very Mexican.
Okay.
Nay, white.
Okay.
Kylie or Kelsey? Which one did I say? Kylie, very, very white.
Okay. Okay.
My experience, yeah. My experience with
honestly, I was wondering more from a place of like, again, our sameness. Being in California, that has become the demographic. But we'll get there when we get there. But
so if I'm gonna skip ahead to now, Black and Asian women are my shit. Like they're my thing.
If I had it my way, well, and that's weird to say, because it's that weird world where, like, as a dude, you both have all the choices in the world, but like you don't, because like the choices within those choices. If I had it my way, I like going racially ambiguous. That top tier, racially ambiguous. I like a girl who's mixed in some regard. I don't care how. I don't know why that's what I gravitate to. Then underneath that is like Asian girls, and then every other girl. And keep in mind, as I give this tier list, let me put a huge disclaimer for every person watching this who thinks that means like only these girls are these. It's like, there's always hot exceptions. There's always like every girl can get it. Like if it was more realistic, if this scale of like what I desire is more realistic, everybody's here by face logic. Like, give me a super sexy Indian girl, I'm as much about her as my top tier racially ambiguous girl. Sorry, go ahead.
No, you're good. So when it comes to the racial part of it, Black and Asian are my shit, and I don't know. We'll get to it. Also,
we'll make that another episode.
Yeah. Also, I'm skipping a lot. Like my sophomore year, I started working in a coffee shop where I was basically paid in sex. So,
wait, what year was this?
Sophomore year. I've already skipped to junior.
How'd you skip over coffee shop sex worker?
Because
that wasn't a big part of it?
No. That's how many, like, that's how weird it's going to get on when you start to dissect what I've gone through. You're going to be like, oh, wow, what the fuck?
Okay. So I gotta ask for the sake, pull out for a little bit. We're going to full spectrum of college. Yeah. Can you give me a number?
No.
Could you, are we triple digits? Are we double digits? The fact that you have to think is concerning.
I would say double.
Double digit. Okay. Are we past the halfway point?
No.
Over 50. Not in college. In college, over 50.
Within college, no, not over 50.
Okay. That's reasonable, especially if you're going at it relatively hard. What would you say if you had to, let's just ballpark it just out the top of your head, number of girls in college. And I'm counting hookups.
Top of my head, I would say about 15 to 20. Top of my head.
15 to 20. Okay. You made it sound way, my brain was already in like, oh no, Aaron, you're junk.
I want to clarify that this isn't like a posturing or like a boastful statement. Mm-hmm. And it's not like a tearing myself down statement. It is neutral. To me, it just is what it is.
Right.
Like I don't like I meet guys who are like, I fuck so many bitches, and it's like, all right, but can you sell that?
Mine's is I find myself like I also like to roll neutral. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm not gonna sit here and not act like it makes me feel cool when girls like me. I'm not gonna be above it. I'm not gonna act like I don't get that self-esteem boost. But at the same time, I I don't like throwing up my numbers. Like look at like I don't, because I know how I would feel.
Yeah.
If I'm me, if I'm me and I'm a number, then that's great. I like that. But if I was a girl to have done that with me and then me be like, look at her, be another thing on the, I'm like, oh no. Like I feel like that sucks all of the niceness out of it. And
Yeah.
so it's like, it's gross. But I also don't like it when dudes feel ashamed of like having fun or being like single bachelors. Like, yes, if you're a bad dude and you're cheating on your girl, then that's another story. But if you're doing the single life and you're having fun, I feel like if we can do it with women, that doesn't mean we have to start degrading men. It's like, it's just, let's all be what we're gonna be. Now, I also would like to say within my statement, but again, totally, the problem with the overarching Origin podcast is there are so many podcasts within it that I have to cut myself off. But you make statements, and then you feel the other statement that you need to say with that statement. Because as much as I say that, I don't know about you, but I fall along the line of, I actually do believe there's like, it says something about you if you don't have a standard. Like if your numbers hit a certain point of ridiculous, then I that's where I start to turn the corner on. Like, I'm one of those that's like, you can have your fun, that's fine. Have fun, be safe. But there is a number where that starts to get into like, I don't believe you're having fun. I believe you're solving trauma. Now, you could be a special case. I believe in special cases. But in general, I have, and that's just me, but that's a totally different episode. To bring it back to where you were junior year, you skipped over coffee shop sex worker time. You met a girl who you were really clicking with, Kylie.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So basically what ended up happening was I did not communicate well. Like, I did this thing of not lying, but not telling the truth. So I would be talking to one girl, and then maybe a month would go by, I would talk to another girl, and then a month would go by, and I would talk to another girl. And I was still having conversations with all of them, but anything sexual would be within spurts. And so what I was trying to do at the time was figure out who I wanted to be with. I wasn't open and honest with my communication. And on top of that, I shouldn't have been trying to be with anybody in the first fucking place. Regardless, I was doing that. Then they all got together on Facebook. Zero, this is one of the worst times in my entire life. They all got together.
They all got together on Facebook. Like, did they all knew of each other before that? How did they know who to add to the chat?
I said something to one of them. I don't know what I said that ignited it, but one of them was like, well, I guess I'll message him. And then it just spiraled from there. And so, yeah. And so these three girls put together a makeshift timeline of what I was saying to them through screenshots. But they're not hearing, they don't get my perspective on it. They're just seeing what I'm saying to each individual person. So they come back hard. I call this era the Powerpuff Girls era. It was bad. I was Mojo Jojo.
I assume you're Mojo. Yes, I assume you're Mojo.
Oh yeah. And so they like,
actually a more apt metaphor for him.
Yeah, it was bad, man. I was getting told I should kill myself, that I was and these are by people that I truly loved. Like, as a I loved them, all of them. Yeah. And it was bad, man. And so there's more crazy stories, including potentially fake rape stories, potentially fake pregnancy stories, and potentially fake miscarriage stories, which is a whole other story.
Okay.
Which I'll get to eventually in this all.
Eventually. All right, guys. Look forward to those and more wacky tales from here.
Yeah, it was bad.
Man, that is crazy.
Yeah.
Conversely,
Okay.
my timeline up to that point was once again the opposite, but in a in an interestingly positive way. I don't know how this keeps happening, but it is so the tale of our story. So struggled halfway through freshman year. I learned the newer method. Still sucked pretty hard, but I started going down to so my college was up the street from this plaza area. There was like this open bunch of shops and all this stuff. A bunch of people go down there. There's a Barnes and Noble. It's like an outdoor mall, but like with several malls. Each store is like right next to each other outside. So I realized very quickly that I was burning through my class and developing a bad reputation as one of the creeps. So I was like, okay, can't do it here anymore. So I started taking it to the plaza and UMKC, which was a college down the street. I went to KCI, Kansas City Art Institute. Um, I, so I would go to the plaza. I would work on game. I would read books at Barnes and Noble. Try to talk to women. Get a phone number or two. Text for a little while until they eventually stopped texting me. Then I would go to UMKC. And this is all while at the same time doing schoolwork. Like I am getting stuff done and I do still hang out with friends. But any free time that I have, I'm spending it trying to get better at that. So I just spend most of my time doing that all the way through, I would say, yeah, it was junior year when it finally like hit. Like I like had been at that point, again, I'm also skipping over several little stories, but they're like dates that like are kinda dates. Like they're ones that it's hard for me to count because they fall in a weird era. But again, we'll get into that. What happened to me junior year, I'm over at UMKC doing what I'm usually doing, talking to girls, getting numbers, all this stuff. Meet this one girl. For the sake of also hiding names, even though everybody who's anybody knows because I've only ever seriously dated one girl seriously. So, like, it's not like I'm really hiding it, but I met this girl. I'm going to call her Jennifer. I'm going to call her Jennifer. Though I should call her Rachel, I'm going to call her Jennifer. So, Jennifer, because she has a thing with the name Rachel. Anywho, so Jennifer, I meet her over on her campus, and it like click. It like finally starts clicking. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm still a weirdo, but I happen to have gotten myself to a point that's just good enough that a girl who's in a very specific place is okay to date me, and she let me in the door, and then I just like continued to be chill and cool, and we started hanging out like all the time. And what I learned in dating that girl was what it feels like to have somebody love you like that, and like, oh, I miss it so much. But like two was how this is gonna sound very counter to what earlier on, which was very like, yeah, men love us, like it's not fair how they treated all this stuff and da da da. But like we kind of suck, like because I was in that phase where I feel like a lot of dudes go through this phase too. Again, not to overarch, but it's like I feel like a lot of dudes go through this phase of like trying to get the girls. Don't lock me down. Like I'm not in lockdown mode right now. I'm just doing me, having fun. Like I'll find my wife later. Or if I happen upon my wife, that'll just happen. So I started dating this girl with those intentions. Like we're not gonna be anything more than just like friends with benefits. Like that's what we're doing. But she just kept being so cool, and I'm such a like little romantic that I just kept going to her place and we just kept hanging out. Like I was paying rent at my house, but like I was going to her on campus apartment, and like I would pretty much live with her. And like that was what I would do, is just spend time after time with her. But in the time, since I'm also like I left it open so that I could also talk to girls, like she started dating other dudes, and each dude, I didn't, I only stayed in the relationship. Like, I only was able to stay because every dude sucks so bad. They would always eventually do something stupid that, like, from, like, as a dude who's not a girl, you look at girls complain about dudes being dumb, and you're like, what are you talking about? Like, no, we're not. We're very smart. We create a lot of things. We do a lot of stuff. Or at the very least, we're smart enough to get you. So how's that work? Like, that whole thing. But then you see it while you're with a girl, and you hear her vent about the problems that she had with dudes. And she kept losing dudes in this very meta way where she would have to break up with them because they would do something so outrageously jerkish that it's like, what am I supposed to do with this? Like, one dude legitimately came over to her 21st birthday, and it's like her 21st birthday was just going to be her celebrating with her roommates and like one extra friend. He didn't even know that was happening, just randomly came by to like say something to somebody else in the house. While he was there, learned it was her birthday, and instead of, it was guaranteed, because this girl was really about him, like more so than me. Even though it's guaranteed that he would get some, he started hitting on this other girl that he didn't know was a lesbian, while the girl that I was dating was sitting on the couch like a couple feet away. And it's not like a house party. It's not like 20 people and there's a lot of no, it's like 5 people in the house. 2 are in their bedrooms and he's in the kitchen in eyesight doing this. And she's like, well then, now I gotta let you go. And then he came over to apologize about it like a couple days later, and she was like, why were you even dating me if you were gonna do that? And he was like, I guess I was desperate. And then and then and then after he said that, by the end of that conversation, not even a couple minutes later, like seconds after that, he was like, so are we still doing this? Are we still hooking up? It was like, I can't believe. I'm like, it's stuff like that. So dating her was a very interesting crash course in the other side of like what they deal with. Now, to be fair, as much as I'd say that, I also wasn't like in lockdown mode for a long time until I realized I was tricking myself. Like I was spending all my time with her. I wasn't really hitting on anybody else. And by the time it came around, it was like her senior year. I had graduated from college. And we were like, let's just rock out the rest of your senior year. You're going to move back to where you're going to move to. I don't like long distance. Let's just do this like exclusively. So we decided to be exclusive throughout the last of her senior year. And then she moved. We broke up. We're still best friends and we talk a lot. But that's where I was with that. Is like mine was just I oopsie doopsied my way into a long-term 2-year relationship. And that was my story as far as that. Oh, but I did, well, conversely, out my art school, around while it was still open, and like right before I ran into her, as I was still doing stuff on my campus, there were rumors, much like your rumors, that started like girls started trying to like spread I'm a stalker, like freaking I'm like pretty much that was it. Pretty much girls just kept thinking I was following them because we live because it's a small campus, and they would see me around after I said, hi, can I get your number? I'd like to talk to you. And then they didn't answer my text. And the fact that I still show up around is like too much. And then like sometimes because I'm an Akko Taco, I'll give my own level of like, I messed up in some regards. I would say things as jokes that then certain girls would not take as jokes. One of the girls, I was talking to her, and then I was like, I had a dream. Like, I had this dream I was telling her about that I had back in high school, like way in high school, about I had this beautiful little mixed daughter. She was very adorable, and I just loved her. And I just really liked that dream. It was a really nice story to me. It's how I know that I really want to be a father. And I was just telling her that dream, where somehow the wires got mixed. Because after I said that, she's looking at me, and I think I misspoke, and I said something along the lines of like, no, I'm not saying like you're the mother of that child. I'm not saying you're that. And she thought that I thought that I was she thought that I was having some intense dream about her and telling her that I had this vision that she was going to be the mother of my kids, like just this whole elaborate story. And ironically, she then ends up dating my best friend. And when my best friend comes to introduce her to me, this girl, like a cartoon character, backs up like all the way, like not breaking, like if I'm talking to you face to face, just starts backing up all the way across the field. And then I thought it was a bit, and I'm like, oh, she's doing a bit. Yeah, no, okay. And then she turns around and just keeps walking. And I'm like, oh, that's not a joke. Like she genuinely was that freaked out. And I was like, the girl's doing a lot. Like she's doing a lot. And I just couldn't. And so that's my version of like the problems that would arise. But that was college.
I'm very jealous.
Yeah, it had its fair share of it was really good. I can't complain. I really got spoiled. I mean, all of my life has been a lot of that, but like definitely that relationship spoiled the mess out of me because I I didn't the types of problems I would have with that girl were like, hey, like could you not okay, it's like stuff that like is the reason we couldn't be together for real. But like it is like to the level like I didn't worry about her cheating. I didn't worry about her causing drama. I didn't worry about lies. I didn't worry about her messing up stuff with my family. I didn't worry about her being a good person. It was all like the intricacies of who we are. Like she didn't like that I'm a goof and I sing a lot. Like I sing a lot. Like in my regular day to day, I just like to sing. And she's like, this just because you're not all the time with that. And it's like that kind of stuff. It's like it does mean something to me, and I do like singing. So it's like one of the tiny things is the reason that we can't be together. But like those are the types of problems that we have, along with a lot of little needly things. Like some of the ways she would go about talking to me weren't the coolest. But overall, again, I cannot say and I can't speak highly enough of this girl. Like if anybody was like, should I date this girl? I'd be like, absolutely, you're winning. The odds that you'll find a girl like that are so low, especially considering what I'm doing, which is another layer of my thing, which I think you've heard and I have bits on. I'm doing the abstinence thing. Happenstancely, this girl also was doing the abstinence thing, like before me. So I just lucked into that situation and I never really had to deal with that, even post college. Girls are way nicer about it, but we'll get into that. But that was my entire college thing wrapped up with a bow, minus some here and there stories of awkwardness or dates that weren't the best. And like, oh, there was this one other girl, but that's neither here nor there.
I'll get into the intricacies, but to sum up college,
Yeah.
after the Powerpuff Girls era, I then met Casey,
Okay.
Nay, and Nay essentially pushed me towards Casey.
Okay.
I know that sounds strange. Later on, I'll give context for it, but Nay pushed me towards Casey even when I wasn't trying to. Casey and I got together, and we were together for the rest of my college experience, and it got way crazier from there. I'll tell you stories when we get there. And then college ends. One more relationship happens, which was with the girl I was with before I really dug into comedy. I think maybe you might have met me up until that point. I can't remember, but
Yeah, I'm like, I don't remember. That was from a time that if I did meet you, then I don't remember that version of you. I only know the version of you post girlfriends.
let's call her Ashley. So after Casey in college, then Ashley comes around. Ashley's around, and then I told you the story, the Netflix story. I don't want to say the actual person's name for I think obvious reasons. Told you that
Right.
Netflix story, and then boom, and here we are now. And that kind of sums it.
Okay, so for me, post college was me and the girl split because she went her way, I went my way. We're still really close and we're friends and stuff. And then I went fully into like what I am now, which is like club mode, which is like I go to the club every Friday, Saturday, and I try my best to be good at talking so that some girl will give me a shot to mess with her. Over the course of that, met a lot of people, learned a lot of stuff. I feel like I've managed to get myself to a relatively okay point. Like my stuff looks really good to anybody watching, but my problem becomes like getting them to stick around. Like it's like I'm really fun for the night, and that's about where my game, as it were, is. And so since that point, I had a lot of little moments, including like Yeah, several club makeouts, a couple messing arounds in my car, one threesome, like several different things have
Hold
happened.
on, hold on, hold on. Time
Uh,
out, time out, time out. One what?
one threesome. Oh yeah, I. It's weird to explain, especially since I'm still doing the abstinence thing. Like I haven't had sex, and you can actually hear like a section of this story in my Instagram. There's a little podcast that I did with my other comedy friend, stand-up guy, and I tell a section of that story, and you can hear the full story on my YouTube page. But neither here nor there. Essentially, I will tell that story. We will get into that, but like essentially, what happened? All that is literally like luck of the draw. Like literally, if you went out as much as I went out, it's destined to happen. Like it's literally all that I did to make that happen was exist in the right space. Like and then not say anything stupid or be dumb. And that's all I did and the girls just took me like they didn't take me like they drove well I drove them to my place at the time, which is a whole nother story because it does come with some drama. We go to my place, and at the time it was Thanksgiving, and my roommate's mom was there, and our walls are thinner than I thought they were, and she got mad. So that's a whole story, but we'll get into that later. But yeah, so that's been me for the past like 5, maybe even 4 years is just me messing around in the club, and then like I freaking sometimes it works out and it's fun for a second, and then girls don't want to see me or talk or like hang out after that. They'll still be friendly, but they don't want to like hang out or do anything because I feel like they can feel that I want to be something, and so I'm like I get it and that's fine. As for me and finding comedy, yeah, tail end of senior year of college, me and my friend, I told this story on you guys' podcast, but me and my friends had this dare that we were going to do at an open mic, which is we all write stand-up material and do it. Only me and one of my friends actually did it. I went up and did it and really enjoyed it, and I just kept doing it. And from then on, I was like, this is my path to becoming a writer. Because I knew I wanted to be a writer after I graduated because I didn't want to do animation anymore. But I didn't know. I mean, I knew I had to actually write, but I was like, what path? And then I saw stand-up, and I was like, oh, yeah, I used to want to do that. And now I'm back in it. And so that's where I am with that.
Okay, how long have we gone?
We have 4 more minutes before it kicks us off.
Let's end it here. Nice, short, sweet, to the point. College in a very nice little wrapped up bow. I have so much I want to say on maybe how you. What's up?
Oh no, go ahead. Maybe how.
Oh, I have so much to say on you finding a girl for consistency purposes, but I think maybe that would be. I think this is a nice little summary of college.
Okay. Yeah, I agree. And like we kind of wrapped up like life afterward very quickly at the end there, but I think it's a good summary and we hit all the main points. So now we can get into talking about whatever we want to talk to. Thank you guys for listening to us freaking during this portion of it. I'm gonna say goodbye at this point. I'm not gonna hang up. I'm still gonna talk to you, but then I'm gonna clap and that'll be the end of the thing. So again, thank you for joining us for the second episode of A to Z. I've been Zero Remsen. You can follow me at @0_KR anime on Instagram. That's Aaron Chase. You can follow him at Aaron Chase 91 on Instagram as well. And also check out the Buddy System YouTube page, the Buddy System podcast, and maybe my YouTube page if you have the time. Thank you guys. You have a good one. Later.